Hello friends, how are you? Hope you are fine. This is Farhan and you are watching Engineering Concept. Friends, in my last video, I have explained about the psychrometric condition. What are the properties of psychrometric condition? And today I am going to tell you about how to find the psychrometric properties. So let's start. Now first we will find the psychrometric condition, the psychrometric properties with the help of psychrometric chart. So as you can see there is a psychrometric chart on the screen. Let's start. On the horizontal axis we have the dry bulb temperature. The lines which are perpendicular to the x-axis, this is called dry bulb lines. Here 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, all this. And the lines which are parallel to the x-axis, like you can see this line, this line, this line, this 40, this 50, this 60, these are nothing but the humidity ratio. And the lines which are in diagonal, you can see this line 50, 55, 45, 40, and here it's 75, 70, 65. These are nothing but the wet bulb temperatures. And here you have the dew point temperatures. You can plot like this, you will get the dew point temperature. So let's see an example. Suppose you have an indoor design condition that is 75 degree Fahrenheit dry bulb temperature, and we know the relative humidity we maintain 50%. So at this temperature 75 degree Fahrenheit, we will see here, I did not tell you, these curves for the relative humidity, this 10, 30, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and here it is 100. This last line is saturation line. We know that when the air is totally 100% saturation is there, that means the air does not have thirsty, the air has the maximum amount of water vapor. So this is the 100% relative humidity. So let's come to the point. We have 75 degree dry bulb that is here, and we have 50% relative humidity. You can see the intersection point is here. So with this we can find, first we can find the humidity ratio, that is around 55 to 56. And we can, sorry, we can find the humidity ratio that is 55, that is 65. This is the dew point temperature. So the dew point temperature is 55 and the humidity ratio is around between 60 to 70, that is we can say 65. And at this point the dew point temperature is, this is line for the dew point temperature. So here the dew point temperature is what, 65, and here it is 50, we can say here it is 60. So our dew point temperature is the in between these two lines, so it will be, this is 55 dew point and this is 60 and this is 65. So we can say it is 62.5 or 63 will be our dew point temperature, the wet bulb temperature. So hope you have understood how to find the other properties if we have any two properties with the help of psychrometric chart. So friends, by this we can find the psychrometric condition properties of air. Now let's move to the next point, latitude, longitude and elevation of the project. Now this latitude and longitude are the location on the earth, that the location on the coordinate system by which by which we can find the location of any point in the earth. Suppose if I say I live in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, so that means the latitude in Dubai or Abu Dhabi is around 24 to 25 degree north latitude. So by this we can find the location. But what is the purpose of finding this? The purpose of finding this, with the help of this latitude and longitude, we can find the intensity of the heat. Suppose we are living in one place and the latitude over here is 24 degree. So the heat gain depend on the latitude. And suppose we are living in some other place like India, like Pakistan, so the heat gain in the intensity of heat gain will be depend on this latitude while doing the manual calculation. And elevation, we know it is the height from the sea level. if you measure the if you measure it from the sea level, we can say the elevation, as we know, the in Hyderabad around 1800 feet. So these elevation are used in the correction factors. Like if we find the tables in the calculation that is given for a specific area, that in the tables the calculation will be given for the specific area or it is for the sea level. Now we have to use this elevation and we have to use and we have to correct the table that you will see in the calculation. While we do the calculation, I will show you this point. So this is also covered. Now the next thing is the u value. Now let's move to a point, u value. U value is nothing but the overall coefficient of heat transfer. We know that the heat gain through different sources is calculated by this equation. Q is equal to UA delta T, where U is the overall coefficient of heat transfer. That means we can say that oh, heat gain in the room or in the space depends on the overall coefficient of heat transfer. If the overall coefficient, or we can say thermal transmittance, is more, then the heat gain in the room or in the space will be more. It also depends on the area and different difference in temperature, but now we will see the U value. So the U value is basically how well the heat is conducted in the space, and this U value is the depends on two things. One is the thermal conductivity of the material, and one is the width of the material. For examples, here we can see on the screen, this is a wall. This is a composite wall made up of different layers. Here we have outside air film, that is nothing but the film coefficient, that is the heat transfer, uh, that is the heat transfer coefficient, that is nothing but the film coefficient. And here we have the 4-inch brick wall, then we have 3-inch fiberglass insulation, then we have space in between these two, then we have 8-inch hollow concrete block, we have 5-inch plaster, 0.5-inch plaster, and we have here inside air film. So each material has the thermal conductivity and resistance property. So what is thermal conductivity? Thermal conductivity is nothing but it is the ability of the material to conduct the heat. If the ability of the material to conduct the heat is more, or we can say it good, then more heat will be transferred. And if the ability of the material to conduct the heat is less, that means the less heat will be transferred. And when the ability of the material to conduct the heat is less, that material generally we call as insulators, which has the resistance capacity that resists the heat. So we we found that the overall coefficient depends on two properties, that is conductivity and resistivity of the material, and also the width of the material. Here we can see the brick is 4 inch, so more the width of the brick, the more will be the heat transfer. So we can see here the overall U coefficient is defined as, it is 1 by, that is H naught is the inside convective heat transfer coefficient, and Hi is the, sorry, Ho is the outside convective heat transfer coefficient, Hi is the inside convective heat transfer coefficient. And we have the how to find the conductivity, how to find the heat transfer of each layer we have here, that is length by the conductivity of the same material. For example, like this, here we have brick, so the width of the brick by the conductivity of the brick. This conductivity values we can get from ASHRAE or from the local supplier of the material. Same here, we have next 3-inch fiberglass insulation. So we have the width of the fiberglass insulation, how much it is, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and the conductivity of this material, that is nothing but K. Same, we have air space. This air space is not there is no, we don't have to consider the length as so we have the value for the air space, that is for all the same, that will be 1 BTU per hour feet Fahrenheit. Like this, we have to find the thermal conductivity of the material, and we, like here I took an example. Let's take the first equation. We can also derive this first equation in terms of resistance. As we know, if the thermal conductivity of the ability of the material to conduct the heat is good, that is more, so the resistance capacity is less. If the ability of the material to conduct the heat is less, that means the resistance capacity is more. So we can define the ability of this material in two terms, either it is resistance or in thermal conductivity. So we can write this equation as Rho, this equation, this 1 by convective heat transfer, we can write it as Rho, that is resistance, outside resistance film coefficient, and this is L, and this 1 by K is nothing but the resistance. Since R is proportional to conductivity, resistance is proportional, one resistance is inversely proportional to conductivity. Like this, we can L by the 1 by K is the resistance of the fiberglass. Like this, we can write the equation, then we can simplify like this. Now we will take the first equation, as we have the conductivity of the material. We can find the resistance with the help of this, but we will take directly substitute on this. So let's see, 1 by U, and the outside film coefficient we have, this value we can find it from ASHRAE, that will be 0.17. Here we can find, and the length, next we will move to brick. With the length of the brick is 4 inch, and the thermal conductivity of the brick here we have is 9 BTU per hour. Next the length of the fiberglass insulation is 3 inch and the thermal conductivity is 0.25 BTU per hour Fahrenheit. This all thermal conductivity we will get from ASHRAE handbook. Next, airspace, I told you the value of airspace will be 1. Next, we have the 8-inch hollow concrete block. This hollow concrete block we don't have to consider the length of this as it is homogeneous, so we don't consider the length. And next we have 0.5 inch plaster. This 0.5 inch by the thermal conductivity is 5 BTU per hour Fahrenheit, and we have the inside film coefficient that is 0.6. At this also we will get from ASHRAE. So when we calculate this we will get this value. This is nothing but the overall heat transfer coefficient that mentions, that describes that this much of heat can be transferred from outside to inside with the use of this material. So finally we can say that heat gain into the space depends on the overall heat transfer coefficient, and the overall coefficient depends on the ability of, that is the conductivity and resistance and the length width of the material depends on. So this is all about the U value. Generally we don't have to calculate the U value. This you will get from the project architect, but as we have to show the procedure, so this is the procedure. It's nothing but a formula. We have to take the conductivity value from the, either from the supplier who is supplying the material, like if we find from the, for the glass. So for the glass U value you have to find out the material. You have to contact with the architect or for the civil people. They can provide you the, either the details of the glass or they will provide directly the U value of the glass. So no need to worry about the U value. So our next point is infiltration rate. This infiltration rate we have to calculate. And this, what is infiltration? First of all, the infiltration is nothing but the air, unwanted air coming into the space by some cracks in the building, like we have doors, we have windows, that unwanted air coming into the building by these cracks. This infiltration rate we can find out by two methods, either by ACH, air change per hour method, or by crack method. So this we will see, the calculation we will see at the time of load calculation. So this is all about the building survey. So from now, from the next video we will start our load calculation in Excel sheet with the help of that architectural layout which I have shown you how to read. That we will gather the data and we will input all the values, and we will find the how much is the cooling load, how much will be the capacity of the machine in the particular area which I have started, that is for the restaurant in that building. So thank you friends, and please subscribe my channel and share my videos so that I can make the videos and it will be helpful for everyone. Thank you.